No doubt, beef exports are one factor in the cattle prices we've seen over the past year, and they'll be a part of the discussion at the CattleFax Outlook session coming up next week in San Antonio. Joining me now to give us a preview of that session is Lance Zimmerman with CattleFax. Lance, cattlemen and women always look forward to your all's session at the convention. Give us a little preview of some of the topics you'll be covering during the Outlook session.
Well, obviously, one of the big discussions on cattle producers' minds is expansion. So we'll obviously be talking about what that's going to look like, not just in 2015, but over the next 5 to 10 years. We'll be talking about the demand implications of both domestic demand and what's going on in the international markets, and obviously the combination of those factors. What's it going to do to the market prices that we're expected to see next year and to come?
Yeah, and tell us this, why do you think it's so important for producers in this day and age to be on top of the market situation?
Well, you look at what happened this last year. We had cow-calf producers making about $500 a head on average across the U.S., stocker operators $300 a head, even feedlots made money this last year. And so as we think about the value appreciation we saw in 2014, we need to be cognizant of the fact that there's a lot of equity at risk. These calves we have are still worth record high or near record high prices, and so we need to take strategic steps towards locking in those profits, whether that's through futures, options, forward sale markets, but locking in those prices and guaranteeing some profitability for years to come.
Give us a little preview as you look ahead to 2015 of what we should be thinking out, particularly about calf prices.
You know, as we look at this next year, the cow-calf producers are still going to be in the driver's seat. We're still in a supply environment where everybody above them is trying to get either extra beef in their meat cases, extra hooves in their feed yards, or extra cattle on pasture. And so the cow-calf guy is going to still see some of the great prices they saw in 2014 translate into 2015. We're likely to sit back and trade in more of a range. The straight higher prices we saw in a lot of these markets in 14 is likely to slow a little bit, which heightens that need for risk management. But I think producers can still anticipate very strong profits this year based on what the market appears to be giving them.
That's good news. Let's talk about inputs for a minute. Clearly, we've seen an improvement in the weather picture over the last year. What does that mean in terms of feed prices?
You know, we've already seen hay prices come down a lot this last year. As you look at 2013's highs, we've really broken that market about 25 to 30%. In some areas where they got really plentiful rain, 50%. And so as we look at these hay prices on a U.S. average, they're around $115 to $125 a ton in most places for just average run-of-the-mill hay. And I think as we look towards this spring, you're going to see that reflective in the pasture costs and forage costs, as well as there's just going to be some more pasture available that hasn't been accessible in recent years. And we're still operating a cow herd that's towards the low end of the historical range. And so until we get that demand base built back up, I think there'll be some pasture out there to be had for a lot of producers.
You mentioned expansion, and everybody's talking about it. What is it going to mean in terms of bred female prices as we move into the spring?
You know, right now we're seeing a full range depending on quality, anywhere from $2,000 to upwards of $3,500 or more. Quality obviously is the big factor there. What kind of genetics, what kind of condition they're in. And I think we're going to continue to operate in that range through the rest of this winter. The higher quality females are going to be in demand, and those that can go to work fast are going to be really the ones that are going to command a premium.
That's great. Thank you so much for your insight. We'll look to hear more about all these topics during the Outlook session.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kevin.
For more information and expert market analysis, visit the website CattleFax.com.